Olympic Peninsula, the crown jewel of the Pacific Northwest. Its unmatched views and quiet solitude offer everything you need in the most beautiful place on Earth.
There is no cause for alarm. Take shelter in the closest pocket of stability in your area, and please refrain from thoughts or memories of home.
The chain of events were in plain sight. Strange accidents leading to the government's claim of eminent domain and subsequent seizure of the peninsula. The evacuation of 100,000 people and the attempt and abject failure at containing the rumors that spread like wildfire.
10.
It was hours before Arthur came to extract us.
9.
Some zone secrets are best left secret.
8. 7.
I don't even look up at the sky anymore.
6.
Was she a myth, martyr, or monster?
5.
Nothing had more potential than limb technology.
4.
And look what it did to the Olympic Peninsula.
3. 2. 1.
I have the distinct honor to introduce to you the American people. A new scientific frontier with a raw power, the potential is limitless. On this day, we welcome our Faraday future.
Warning, an instability front is approaching. Take immediate shelter in a stabilized area. Locations impacted include sectors Delta and Echo. Another one? After all these years? Call her. Now. Locations impacted include sectors Delta.
Field Research Training Module 1. While conducting your field research out in the Olympic Exclusion Zone, you may find conditions unkind to your personal transport unit. Steel and rubber in particular are extremely susceptible to zone conditions. In your toolkit, you have access to the basic equipment you need to maintain your transport.
The trumpet sound.
When out on the field, make sure to utilize all appropriate safety gear and equipment. ARDA does not condone petty theft. However, should you find yourself in a life-threatening situation, you may at times borrow from your surroundings. Phenomena out in the wilderness, remember the 3 safety steps. Number 1, observe only at a careful distance. Approach only at your own risk. Number 2, do not attempt to contain or interact with the phenomena. Should you do so, immediately report your findings and follow appropriate decontamination procedures upon your return from the field. And number 3, leave them where you found them. Above all, do not forget the most important critical rule. Do not get caught out in the instability. We remind you that ARDA is not liable for any entropic reconstitution that occurs to you or your loved ones should you interact with the instability. All ARDA personnel are expected to follow strict protocol. Remember, personal methods of creative expression are highly encouraged so long as it does not interfere with official equipment. ARDA is not liable for any injuries or death suffered as a result. That's it for today's training. Happy trails and good luck.
Initially, it was very much a personal thing. You know, I grew up driving station wagons around the Pacific Northwest. I would go camping, I'd go out to the beach, I'd go on road trips with friends, and as an adult, I decided to start doing that again. So I got an old station wagon and I started going out on these trips. But, I would go to abandoned industrial sites. I would go, taking the car up these tiny little dirt trails, and there was this vibe, this feeling of being out there in the woods with this old car, a very surreal experience, and that became, I think, the initial seed idea for the game. Pacific Drive is a run-based driving survival game, but when we started, we were very much just prototyping. We were getting the player into the car, having them drive around in the woods, and getting a feel of the space out there. What we quickly figured out is there's a lot of overlap between resource management and kind of plate juggling that you want in a good survival game, and taking care of a car, like making sure that you don't run out of gas and checking on your battery. It all eventually came to fruition with the garage and us figuring out we wanted a safe space for the player to be the mechanic and to work on their car, and taking these excursions out into the zone where you're grabbing resources and exploring and then coming back and being able to do it again. In most survival games, there's a focus on the player and keeping them alive, but for Pacific Drive, we wanted to turn that on its head a bit and put the emphasis on the car. It's the thing that's going to keep you safe when you're out in the zone, but that's only true so long as you maintain it. The player can still take damage, but the car itself is a good deal more complicated. There's different slots that you can put different equipment into and customize your car, but things may happen to those parts. They may take wear and tear, they may get damaged and break or fall off, in which case you may have to craft replacement parts or scavenge for new things out in the zone. We really care about satisfying that fantasy of the player being a mechanic, like just taking care of this car and maintaining it while they're on the road. It's important for us to do this because that interaction helps build the player's relationship with the car, and that's something that we care a lot about for the game. So the zone is a pretty isolating and lonely place. When you're out on the road, your car is your only real travel companion, and we wanted to make sure that players had the ability to build a personal connection with the car that is special to them. We've also doubled down on that with the physical interactions as well. So every time you want to start the car, you have to turn the key, you have to get the engine to start, you have to put it in park manually. We built the whole game with these systems in mind because we want to create effectively a sandbox for these different dynamic moments to occur.
Sometimes when I'm driving the car, I find I have to swerve suddenly just to get out of the way of a saw blade or an electrical anomaly, and then I'm on my side in the woods, and that's fine by me, because the first time I drove into the woods was as a teenager going about 40 miles an hour, but that's another story.
I spent an eternity climbing this super, super steep hill with my car. I finally got to the top, climb out of my car to get what I'm going after, and turn around, and there are broken bunnies just sticking all over it. They slammed on the gas and sent it barreling right back down the hill.
There was a time that I came around a corner and drifted too hard onto a cliff and rolled straight down the cliff and actually ran into a group of abductors, and one of them pulled me straight into the gateway, and I made a safe exit from there even though the storm was closing in.
I think the experience I'm looking forward to players having the most is gaining that sense of companionship with the car. You know, sitting in the garage, looking at it, seeing all of these stories that have happened, the crazy escapes, the last-minute repair jobs, and really to feel like it's their car. I think that's going to be something really special.
Someone out there? They're from outside? They're a preacher?
So, another preacher, huh? How do you outsiders not understand that Arda didn't build that 300-meter wall out there for fun? We have to find you a way out.
30,000 feet above New York.
I wish I could tell you what I saw. I wish I could put it into words. But most of all, I wish I could forget.
Could it be? A remnant? It can't be. There hasn't been one in decades. When we're all dead and gone, and limb technology but a footnote in the history books, the anomalies will remain. They're the legacy of our work here. And the Olympic Peninsula belongs to them now. Look around. We're stuck here. For good. The remnants are like us in a way. Those of us who chose to stay behind, we are as discarded and forgotten as they are.
You and the car are inseparable now, so get acquainted.
Something special's going on beneath that hood.